when I was in the Sin, we always did the Tuesday night opening act at the Marquee Club. And because Tuesday nights at the Marquee Club in Wardour Street was when the bigger bands played. And honestly, we had a terrible week. We've been playing in these awful places like Stoke-on-Trent, which is like part of the industrial north, which really isn't there anymore because all the industry finished. But and it had been pouring with rain, and we've been driving up and down motorways, and you know, I believe we showed up at the Marquee with just enough gas in the van to get there. But no problem, because we knew we were opening for Cliff Bennett and the Rebel Rousers, who were a big band. They had a big hit with the McCartney song, "Gotta Get You Into My Life." It was a #1 record. So we thought, great, because the way they structured the payment at the Marquee, obviously the main band took most of the money, but even if you were the opening act, you got a break over a certain amount of 10 people buying tickets. So we thought, oh, well, okay, at least we'll be able to, you know, get through the weekend and pay for a few things. And so, of course, to my amazement, we show up there and we bring our equipment in the back door, and there's a few chairs sitting around, and then on the stage there's these 3 guys rehearsing, and I sort of like sat there and listened to them. And I thought, this is very peculiar, because the Marquee never let anyone rehearse there. It was like one of their rules. I thought, why is this band being allowed to rehearse? And the guitarist was a black guy, and he was going to the bass player, da 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 da, and of course you guess who it was. And so Noel Redding was da 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 da, and it was like I wanted to go and take the bass from him and say, no, it's these 5 notes. and so of course, meanwhile, my heart was sinking, because I was thinking, where's Cliff Bennett and the Rebel Rousers? And who is this band? So I walked out the front, and there was this guy, Jack Barry, who was the assistant manager. I said, what are these guys doing rehearsing? And when are Cliff Bennett and the Rebel Rousers showing up so they can set their gear up and we can put ours in front? And he goes, no, I just had a call from the office. This is the main act tonight. I went, what? They can't even learn 5 notes together. And so they finished rehearsing. We set our gear up. And I went into the dressing room as I just started that thing of changing my bass strings, you know, like every night to keep them all fresh and everything. And so what's remarkable here is this is the first black guy I'd ever had a conversation with in my life. So because I came from very white middle class upbringing, and there was a guy from India in my school who was in another grade, but you know, I might have said hi to him, but he wasn't really in my year. And so this is the first black guy I've ever talked to. So of course Jimi goes, yeah, a friend of mine in Seattle's got a Rickenbacker bass, and I thought, well, that's odd. This guitarist is talking to a bass player, because normally that didn't happen in those days. Bass players talk to each other, guitarists talk to each other, and so I was changing my strings, and we just had a half-an-hour conversation. Of course, all the while I'm thinking, and this guy's got this awful band that no one's going to come and see. And so I went down to the little cafe on the corner. I won't be too much longer. This little cafe on the corner called, I think it was not the Gioconda, but Forenzia, I think it was called, where. Yeah, and we were just eking out our last pennies to like have the cheapest thing on the menu to eat in there that we could just about scrape together. And as we're sitting there, the line for the club starts to go past the window of the restaurant. And we think, oh my God, look at that! You know, dessert. And then we finished our meal, and I went back to the Marquee Club, and there's the same assistant manager taking 10 bob notes, what they were called in those days, which was like, I don't know, 50 cents or something. And he, or $1 probably more like. And I said, Jack, what is going on? And he goes, I don't know. So I found my way back to the dressing room, we got ready, and then the manager, this guy called John G, arrived, and he always came in and said, 2 minutes before you go on. And I said to him, John, why are all these people here? This band is awful, you know. And, you know, and he said, don't ask me either, just the office called, and that's who the headline is. And he said, so there's a bunch of people, so be happy about that. So I walked out on stage, I went up to my mic, and, like, you know, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2, and the way the club was set up, there was about 40 seats in the front row, well, 4 rows of about 15 seats in each. And as I'm testing my mic, I'm looking down, oh, it's Steve Winwood and Pete Townsend and Keith Richards. And is that George Harrison? Yeah, it is. You know, so all my heroes were like there, and we were like, oh, for our first song, you know, we'd like to do a cover of, you know, something Motown.
I hope it was a good deal.
Yeah, well, later on when I got to know Pete Townsend, I did say, do you remember that night when the Sin opened for Hendrix? And he said, yeah. I said, everyone was applauding, but was that like applause for like, great, get off, you know? And Townsend sort of said he thought he liked it, but I wasn't sure.
He would do.
And so, of course, everyone in the world had showed up at the Marquee Club, and including the Beatles and the Stones, to watch Hendrix. And I couldn't even get out of the dressing room because the people were just pressed up against it. Yeah. So I went and just sat on the grand piano, which was behind Mitch Mitchell's drums, on the stage. And, of course, I was totally blown away. It was just amazing. And I'm also seeing, like, Eric Clapton going, oh, my God, I'm not God anymore.
That's true.
You know, yeah. His jaw was dropping, and I thought, this is surrealistic. And, of course, just as a little underscore to the story, because it is over now, but there's all the girls who used to, like, hang out at the rock and roll bar and stuff, who would never talk to me before, after I've been on that stage with Hendrix, they're like, you know, oh, Chris, you know, buy you a drink, and... yeah, well, I played it up, you know, me and Jim, yeah.